Hello, hello, awesome humans. When we talk about making a change, it often feels like it's got to be something definitive and dramatic, something that announces itself with a loud drum roll. But actually, most times, change announces itself in a whisper. It doesn't start with clarity of, here's what I want to change, here's what I want to do. It actually starts with like a feeling that you start to have, where maybe that feeling is, something like isn't working, or something that I used to really enjoy, I'm not anymore, or something feels like it's pulling at me. There's this new direction I want to explore. It doesn't usually start with a lot of clarity on exactly what you want to do. It doesn't announce itself with, here are the next 5 things you should do, or a clear goal. Change is something that evolves much more than it happens. And I think it's a really important thing to recognize. One of my favorite stories about this is a story about Steve Jobs. And the story is that he went to college, and I think it's after the first semester. Don't If I get my facts wrong, if it's second semester, don't get mad at me. But it's very early in. He just started to feel. I remember reading what he wrote about this, that like he wasn't learning very much. He didn't know why he was there. He didn't have a particular thing he was interested in. And he decided, instead of wasting his parents' money on an education where he wasn't really focused and didn't know what he was doing, he quit. And then he kind of asked himself the question of, okay, like, what do I want to do? And he started to look at some of the classes that he could just take, like audit, without enrolling in college again. And one of those classes was calligraphy. Sounded interesting to him. He signed up. And decades later, he would talk about calligraphy, and him taking that class was the thing that developed in him appreciation for beauty, for design, which became the absolute core part of what made Apple, one of the greatest companies in the world, so special. It became part of the ethos of what makes Apple different, is the aesthetic, is the appreciation for design. And I love that story because when he left college, it wasn't like, I'm going to go create the world's most valuable company. I think second most valuable now, but one of the world's most valuable companies that is going to be a technology company, but with the core ethos is going to be design. That's not what he said. He had no idea. He knew that where he was in college, it wasn't working for him. And he just decided to try something that was interesting. And that became this kind of seed that then grew and flourished and became his guide for how he then built his career. And it's a really beautiful and very true story, because it's what I found to be true in my experience as well, both in myself and in guiding so many people to reinvent their lives, to grow, to change things. When we begin, it's rarely because we're like, oh, I know exactly the thing that I want to do. It's a whisper. It's a feeling inside. It's almost on a gut level. You know that where you are isn't fulfilling to you anymore and you need a change, but you may not know what it is. And I wanted to record this episode because I find that for so many people, this is actually a huge blocker. They say, well, I don't know exactly what I want to do, so I'm just going to stay where I am. And that's the danger in that, because if that's the philosophy that we follow, then we're never going to make a change. Because first of all, your brain is always having a love affair with the familiar. Things that are familiar to your brain, they're safe, and your brain loves safety because it just wants to keep you safe from danger. So if the conversation in the brain goes something like this: well, I'm not really quite happy where I am, but I don't know exactly what I want to do. And where I am is comfortable and safe. I don't even know what I want to do. It's uncertain, full of possible danger. Let me just stay where I am. And this is why I see so many amazing people living a life of inertia and complacency and just being really stuck in a place that doesn't make them happy, whether it's how they are, their work, their business, their beliefs, but they're stuck there because they don't know exactly the thing they want to change to. The brain convinces them that even trying is really scary. And so they stay stuck. And I want to encourage you to not fall into that, to not let your brain convince you that just because you don't know exactly the change you want to make, that you shouldn't even try figuring it out. Because clarity is never going to come from you thinking about it. It's going to come from you trying a bunch of things, taking a bunch of imperfect steps in the direction that you want to explore, learning as much as you can and evolving from there, because that's actually how change happens. Just like with Steve Jobs, it didn't happen. He didn't start building Apple with the ethos of great design because he woke up one day and that's what he wanted to do. It was actually quite a long evolution that began by him taking this calligraphy class and falling in love with beautiful design. So here is why I wanted to record this episode now, because I have actually realized something about this podcast that has been brewing in me for a while. And you'll have to excuse my reminder on my computer. We're just going to leave it there. We're actually not even going to edit it. I know my editor, Jeff, is listening to this. We don't need to edit this. I try to make this sound as authentic, good, but authentic as possible. For a while now, I've had this feeling that I couldn't put my finger on about this podcast. And I'm really proud because I've now been hosting it for a year. The Reinventability podcast, I've recorded 53 episodes, some solo like this and some with amazing, amazing guests. I'm really proud of the topics that I've shared, how many people have listened, how many lives it has touched by just being committed to something for a year. But this feeling that I've had was that it's not quite exactly what I want to be talking about. Yes, reinvention, making positive changes, but not quite the format. And I realized something. I want to continue to do the podcast because I really love having conversations with amazing people who've done bold, courageous things, who've created positive changes in their own lives or others who can help you do the same. This is my favorite thing to do in the world. It's what I do in all my work, to activate you, not just inspire you, but activate you, to work through the inertia, through the doubt, and do more of the things that truly make you come alive. Because I think that's the purpose of our life. But I want to do it in a little bit of a different format. So we're going to take a break for a few weeks. And then in a few weeks, get excited, because this podcast is going to come back, but with a new name. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I want to be a total tease about it. It's going to come back with a brand new name and a slightly different format that feels more aligned with my ethos and what I want to be activating you and all the awesome humans that I come in contact with in my speaking, in my mentorship, in my podcast, in my writing, and my art. What I want to activate you all to do, and that is just to stop planning, to stop waiting, to stop believing your doubt, to stop believing your limiting beliefs, and take action to move towards the life you're excited to wake up to. Imperfect action, small action, but action is the magic. Daring ourselves to take action towards the life that we're excited to wake up to is the reason I believe we're here. So the relaunched podcast will be focused on that even more, in a laser focus. We'll have a new title, a new podcast thumbnail, some new amazing guests. And I'm very excited. In a few weeks, I'll be sharing all the news with you. If you're not on my email list, you should get on it. My email list here is about everything that I'm doing first. You can go to my website, nataliekogan.com, and sign up. And I just want to express my gratitude to you. If you've been listening, this is your first episode. You're in for quite a fun change. If you've been listening for a while, I am so grateful for you. This wouldn't exist without you, my amazing listeners. So thank you for coming with me on this reinventability journey. And I am so excited to share the next chapter of this podcast with you in a few weeks. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. I'm so excited. I'm speaking over myself. And I can't wait to share the new podcast name, format, and artwork with you in a few weeks. Take good care.